Well, let's begin now with a breaking update in a rare humanitarian approach. Amid escalating tensions in the Middle East, Iran has made special exception for India by opening its airspace to evacuate stranded Indian nationals, mainly students in the region. Tehran has reportedly arranged dedicated flights coordinating with the Indian authorities to ensure their safe return, as this gesture comes even at the time when the conflict zones continue to remain volatile. And as we are looking at another flight, mainly of students who has now returned home in a safer environment, looking at the conflict that has been escalating in Tehran and other cities of Iran as well, it seems like a special gesture, an exception that has been made for India so that the Iranian airspace was opened briefly so that the Indian nationals could be brought back home safely.
The Iranian carrier is going to bring them in a 2 or 3 charter flights, which start from tonight. They will arrive tonight, tomorrow. There is 2 flights tomorrow also, and I think there would be another on the Sunday as well. Yeah, it isn't closed, but we are actually, because it is closed, but because of this issue, we are making arrangement that they open it for the safe passage. Because as I told you, that we are doing our best for the safe Mashhad to Delhi.
जी मैं बहुत खुश हूँ कि हम सेफली वहाँ से आ गए और हमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं हुई। बस हमें इंटरनेट की थोड़ी प्रॉब्लम थी कि हमारा घर पे कांटेक्ट नहीं हो पा रहा था, लेकिन हम इंटरनेशनल रिचार्ज करा लेते ताकि हम घर पे बात कर सके। हम अपनी डेली अपडेट अपने पेरेंट्स को दे रहे थे और हम बहुत शुक्र अदा करना चाहिए गवर्नमेंट का, इंडियन गवर्नमेंट का भी, ईरानी गवर्नमेंट का भी, जिन्होंने हमें सेफली यहाँ अच्छे से पहुँचा दिया और नहीं कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आई हमें। उन्होंने हमें अच्छे होटल्स में रखा, हमारा ब्रेकफास्ट लंच डिनर भी सब सही था और वहाँ कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं हमें, और यहाँ पे भी हम सेफली आ गए।
बहुत डरावने हालात होते हैं जैसे जंग में होता है, लेकिन इंडियन एम्बेसी ने हमें शुरुआत से एश्योरेंस दिखाई थी कि वो हमारी मदद करेंगे। सो वी आर वेरी थैंकफुल फॉर द इंडियन गवर्नमेंट, इंडियन एम्बेसी, दैट दे हेल्प्ड अस इन द critical moment. It was really very difficult for us as single students over there with no family and no friends to deal with the matter, and we are here now, and it's really very considerate of our government and of our CM and of our PM that they brought us over here safe and sound, and we are really thankful.
इंडियन गवर्नमेंट ने हमारी बहुत हेल्प की, एम्बेसी वालों हमेशा अवेलेबल थे वहाँ पे, इंडियन एम्बेसी के मेंबर्स अवेलेबल थे, उन्होंने जल्दी से जल्दी हमें इवैक्यूएट कराया। और तेहरान में, स्पेशली मैं तेहरान में थी तो तेहरान में ज़्यादा स्ट्राइक्स थे एंड रूफ टॉप से सब विजिबल था, तो हमें तेहरान से दूसरे स्टेट में कुंभ में ले गए एंड कुंभ से मशहद एंड मशहद तो फाइनली आज इंडिया हमारी फ़्लाइट थी। नहीं, मैं बहुत खुश हूँ वापस आकर इंडिया। काफ़ी हेल्प करी इंडियन गवर्नमेंट ने, हमें रिलोकेट करा, बार बार होटल्स प्रोवाइड करे, फूड, ड्रिंक्स, एवरीथिंग, दे वर वेरी हेल्पफुल।
Well, at a time like this, when the conflict is escalating, the situation there remains volatile. This is how India is taking care of its citizens, of its nationals who were stranded. This seems to be a special exception, a gesture, a rare one that has now been made by Iran. Let's listen in to the ambassador himself on what he has to say on bringing back the Indian nationals safely back home.
They are on. There is no problem, major problem with them. And hopefully that there would be no more attacks, because if there would be some kind of the attacks or any kind of thing that makes the situation worse, it will affect all the region, because this is the nuclear facilities, it is not the power plant, or I don't know what kind of the military bases, which is maybe has a very limited effects when it will be targeted. They should provide the proof that we are going for the nuclear weapons. You know that the recent confession by the Mr. Gerussi, IEA, he said we couldn't find any proof, any kind of the proof that it shows that Iran went for the weapons or it has it. And some of the, even we can see in the American media, they say we know that Iran doesn't have the military, we can say, intention for the nuclear issues.
Well, that is not the first time that India has set an example, especially for stranded Indian nationals in spaces across the world where there is unrest, where there is conflict. And yet another example, as we can say, that has been sent by India as far as when it comes to its nationals are concerned in the time of crisis, the Indian government will reach out to them. There has been exceptions that have now been made. An example that has now come in from Iranian side, where an exception for India to evacuate its stranded nationals, mainly who are students who have been studying in different parts of Iran, and they have now been successfully evacuated. This has been another round of the rescue operations under Operation Sindhu that has been carried out. Let's get in a word from Mr. Ashok Sajjanar, who's connected with us. Sir, good morning to you. India always sets an example, sir, and this is another time that we are looking at wherever there is crisis across the globe, India will reach out to its stranded nationals and will evacuate them.
Absolutely. I think that's a very rewarding and satisfying gesture, move on the part of Iran, that it has opened its airspace in the midst of this conflict that's now been going on for more than 8 days. I think it's very satisfying because otherwise the way that Iranians move out of there, I remember I was in Moscow in the 80s when the Iran-Iraq war was going on, and we had to evacuate our citizens from Iran and they had to be flown to Moscow. So it was quite an expedition in terms of bringing all of them back there. So here it is coming by air to India. I think it fills everyone with happiness and also with pride that we have such relations with countries like Iran. You would recall that even in Ukraine, when we were to take out our 20,000 plus students, then the war there had been stopped for some time for the Indian, the buses that were carrying Indian students, that they could travel from the east of the country to the west so that they could take flights from different neighboring countries like Poland, Hungary, Romania, etc. So this is a very happy moment that our students are able to get out with the cooperation, active cooperation. At that time, from Ukraine, there were many questions that were raised by the opposition, whether India was able to get it done. But right now, I think all those issues also would have been set at rest because Iran itself has announced that it is opening the space especially for the transportation, for the movement of Indian students to India.
Absolutely. You can see the relief on their faces once they have landed back. They know that they're in a space which is safe and it's a safe environment for them. Thank you very much, Mr. Sajjanar, for your point of view. Shrinjoy is also connected with us. Shrinjoy, you were speaking to the Deputy Ambassador also over there as far as when it comes to the conditions that has been extremely volatile in the Middle East, especially when it comes to this gesture that has now been made from the Iranian side of opening its airspace for the Indian nationals to be evacuated. What does it say?
Yes, it's very important. There are at least 1,000 Indians who wanted to come back. So 3 flights have been arranged. The airspace was opened. As he said yesterday 2 times now, that yes, we will do this for India. There are 1,000 students and others who want to go back. And they have been moved to Mashhad, where there have been no Israeli attacks, air attacks or missile attacks. And from there they can be taken away to India, flown off to India. And that's exactly what has happened. 1 flight has landed yesterday, last night, as he was saying. In fact, the conversation took place before the first flight landed yesterday afternoon. So the first flight has landed. The second flight will land sometime today. The third flight will land possibly late tonight or early tomorrow morning. And then all the Indians who are in Iran and want to come back would have come back.
Absolutely, and these arrangements that have been made on part of the government of India itself, and this has been a rare occasion that is now being seen. Of course, previously as well, whenever there are conflicts and unrest across the world, India has been one of the first responders there to reach out to its nationals who are willing to return home and in a safe environment back home. What could be better when it comes to these arrangements that were specially made for them? Now, what is being said that the Indian embassy in Iran has been constantly in touch with the Indian nationals as well. They have been giving them information and updates as well, which has been successfully evacuating Indian nationals who have been stranded. And the embassy, what it says, let's put that out exactly when it comes to its post that has now been put up with the helpline numbers as well, that the embassy can be contacted either on Telegram channel or over emergency contact numbers as well. This is coming at a time when the conflict has been escalating, and this has been posted by India and Iran on the request of governments of Nepal and Sri Lanka. The Indian embassy's evacuation efforts in Iran will also cover citizens of Nepal and Sri Lanka as well. So not just Indian nationals, but nationals coming in from Sri Lanka and Nepal. This seems to be an effort jointly that is now being taken up by multiple governments. India, of course, leading the way when it comes to the stranded nationals there, not just Indians, but Nepalese and Sri Lankan nationals as well, who are now being evacuated successfully as the flights that have been landing at Delhi's IGI airport, and thereafter they will be taking their flights to their respective countries. But also when it comes to the citizens of Nepal and Sri Lanka, the numbers, the helpline numbers of the embassy that have also been given out that they may reach out to the embassy. There are Telegram channel or over the emergency contact numbers as well. That is now being shared by the Indian embassy in Iran. Similar work that has also been done on part of Israel as well. As far as the Indian embassy in Israel is concerned, there have been advisories that have been issued constantly, numbers that have been shared as they can get across and get in touch with the embassy. And of course, when it comes to stranded Indian nationals, Nepalese citizens as well, and Sri Lankan nationals as well, they are also being evacuated at the same time. Now, Times Now is in Tel Aviv. The biggest coverage that we are getting amidst this conflict that seems to be escalating with the Iranian strikes that has been carried out on civilian areas as well. Let's get you exactly when it comes to the situation that has been evolving on the ground. What we have been speaking of is the current status. Every single day that we are getting the information of strikes and counter strikes being carried out from both sides.
After 7 days of war, which is ongoing in between Israel and Iran, the situation is escalating further because the kind of barrage of missile, ballistic as well as supersonic missiles which are being used by Iran is escalating the situation further. Earlier, Israel was dealing with small-scale missile which was coming from Hezbollah's side, and the Iron Dome was able to protect it. But on Friday, what we could see that Iran was certainly attempting to come to the location and fire missiles on those locations where Israel is expecting to hide its nuclear weapon, although Israel has not come on record. These ballistic missiles are coming in one format, and above the ground, 7 kilometers away, it is certainly spreading into multiple pieces, which is also difficult for the America-based defense system, which is in position with Israel also to defend it. On the other side, Khamenei, the top supreme leader of Iran, has given an open threat to Israel and saying that the way you have been attacking us, you will be giving a very clear-cut, befitting reply, and the escalation will go on further. On the other side, what we know through reports that Israel has once again attempted to contact USA so that the big bomb could be brought and dropped to the location where the nuclear facility is being kept by the Israeli side, which is in Fordow. Now, this particular location, which is under 100 feet of the ground, is a location where Iran is expected to producing its nuclear weapon, which is yet to be cleared by the Israeli side. What they have been saying that Iran is attempting to make a nuclear weapon. Before it could do that, they want to attack and destroy it. But whether the US will actually intervene physically in this war or not is certainly something which we will have to see. The kind of movement of the US forces, the air defense forces coming near the Middle East is also making this case more complex.
Well, let's speak of the President of the United States, Donald